नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मीति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। तत्सत्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवा भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैः अङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So, the Wednesday's class, we saw the parampara from the Pradhamaja or the firstborn Brahma to his eldest son Jeshtaputraya Atharvana. Then from Atharvana, Bharadwajaya, Angiras, Bharadwajaya to Angiras, from Angiras to Shaunaka. Now Shaunaka, who is also known as the Mahashala or the one who has been performing great yajnas, he is the one who goes to Angiras and asks a very pertinent question, which he has not been able to find an answer due to all his, even during his strict adherence to the Vedas, the ordained rules and regulations and performance of the yajnas. Still, he has not understood or did not know what is the truth behind all of them. Yet he has heard in the Vedas that Brahman or the Sarvadhishthanam or the substratum for all is the one to be known. So he goes to Angirasam and asks it, Kasminnu Bhagavo Vijñāde Sarvamidam Vijñādam Bhavati. O Bhagavaha, my master, in which knowledge does the knowledge of being of everything reside in? Kasmin Vijñāde Sarvamidam Vijñādam Bhavati. So, to that question is the entire Upanishad teaching is all about. It started with that same thing like Tasmai Huvaja, Dve Vidye Veditavya. Both have to be understood very clearly, because what is right should be known. Not only what is right, you should also know what is not wrong or what is other than that. So only in that particular situation, the clarity of knowledge can happen. Otherwise, when we are not able to clearly know what is not the reality, then even if we are told that this is the reality, when a appearance happens which appears to be real, there is a chance for us to mistake that appearance also to be a reality. So it is equally important for us to know both what is real and what is unreal. Therefore, is a Veditavya. Veditavya means must understand. There is no choice given to the student. Para, aparacha. Both para and apara. Para means the supreme. Apara means that which is not supreme, which is mundane in the sense. In that category, he said, Tatra, apara, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, Shiksha, Kalpo, Vyagaranam, Niruktam, Chando, Jyotisham iti. So he categorized all the not supreme knowledge which to be studied, yet it is mandatory one should know all those things, is the four Vedas and the auxiliary Vedas like Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Chandam, Jyotisham. We studied this in the Wednesday's class. And then he says, Atha, therefore, para is what is yaya aksharam adigamyade. Yaya means by which. So he doesn't tell what is that knowledge. He says that it is that by which tad aksharam, that immutable or indecayable or permanent is adigamyade, is reached, attained or understood. The meaning can be of the three meaning can happen to that. Adigamyate. Tad aksharam. That aksharam. Aksharam means which decays. Aksharam means that which do not decay. So here aksharam can be also, yesterday I told that both meanings should be kept in mind, that no, aksharam also has got alphabets or language, indicating language. Also, ksharam means decay, aksharam means that without, which doesn't have a decay, which means which is in its own state at all the time. So both have meaning, can be taken for the meaning. Now, the next sutra is, next mantra is virtually a mantra which one can by heart it and meditate upon. Because it has got all that is what is required to meditate upon. And if a person who has understood that word by word and what each word stands for, it doesn't need any mantra else for meditating. The mantra goes like this. Yatadadrishyam agrahyam agotram avarnam achakshutram tadapanipadam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susushmam tadavyayam yadbhudayonim paripashyanti dhiraah. So what does it say? Yet, that or which, tad, that is, which is that is adrishyam. It is not perceivable. It is not a matter or anything within the perception. Drishyam means to see or perceive. Adrishyam means that cannot be perceived. Now we have a feeling that perception can be only through the sense organs. But here when they say adrishyam, it includes all sorts of cognition which we can happen, which is called perception. Anything which is giving us a cognition is to be included in the perception. So it is not a matter which it can be cognized. Agrahyam. Then the doubt can come, if it cannot be perceived, is it something which can be felt or grasped by the limbs of action? To reward of that, it is said agrahyam. You cannot touch it, you cannot hold it, you cannot use it for any purpose for your karmas or actions. So that is, and also the agrahyam means there is a meaning which also says comprehensive, comprehend. That means it is not comprehensible for either of the sense groups, both the active action or perception. It is beyond both the sensory inputs or the action, organs of action. Agotram. Now, gotram in the normal, the mundane parallel is belonging to the which family tradition you are belonging to is the gotram. But here, obviously, which is not perceivable or which is not comprehensible, how can it be in any family tree? So the word gotram here doesn't mean that of any family tree. Here gotram stands for Tral pratyaya is used in the Sanskrit to indicate this origin. Gotram means from where the beginning takes place. So you should be very careful to understand that which is being referred here is not a thing where the beginning takes place. Therefore, he has a lineage, or he has a parampara, or he has any tracking method with which you can go to the source. To remove that agotram, when it is said, it is not without, or it is not, or it doesn't have any origin of its own. Avarnam. Varnam basically is for colors. But here Varnam is indicating of any type of identity or indicative means or lakshana. Avarnam doesn't have any type of identity with which you can identify it. So it is not perceivable, it is not comprehensible, it doesn't have an origin, or it cannot be identified with any of the indicative means with which you can say that this is that. No. Then comes the achakshu chotram. Not accessible for eyes and ears. So just doesn't mean achakshu and chotram. All the five sense organs. It is not possible for all five sense organs it is not in the realm of those sensory objects. It is beyond the senses. That is also apanipadam. Now, if you say that it's not possible for the sense organs, the chances of misunderstanding that to be for the sense organs of action again. Apanipadam, it doesn't have hands, it doesn't have legs, so it is neither doing any action nor does have any movement. So apanipadam. So this brings into condition that it is absolutely not categorizable in any of these type of groups. Then comes all the negative things, it is going to the positive aspects of it. Nityam. Nityam means eternal. There is no other word for that. Nityam means it is there all the time. Vibhum and Sarvagatam, these two words are identical. Vibhu means Vibhutvad, Vibhu. Vibhutva means all pervading. Sarvagatam means all, again, reaching everywhere. Now, why a Upanishad should, one after the other, place two words which are identical in meaning? So, Punarukti dosha means repetitive usage of meaning is considered as a negative quality for any Shastra. But Shankaracharya says no, it is not the same meaning. Each one has a meaning of its own. When it says Vibhum, Vibhutva Vibhum, that means it is spread everywhere, omniscient. Then what does it Sarvagadam means? It is permeating through each and everything which is possible, is where you call it as Sarvam. Sarvam asti ched eva sarvagatam bhavati. That means if there is something which you can define as everything, then only you can say it can permeate everything. So when it is even if you feel that there are creations or appearances, it is even permeating through all of them. And then if it is to permeate that too, is it like space? The question can come. Because space is the only thing which we can know, which is Sarvagatam. It is permeating in everything, or everything is suspended in the space, or the space is in and out and occupying that object, everything. So the question can come, is it like space? To remove that doubt is this next word, susukshma. Sushma means is the subtlest. Susushma means beyond the subtler than the subtlest, all those things which we can think. It is subtler than the space. To indicate that, the word susushmam is used. Tad, that Brahma, is avyayam. Vyayam means to change. From parinama or vivarta, there are the two type of changes which are used in the technological meaning in the Shastras. Both are being warded off by saying avyayam. Even for us, we have physical, if you look at our body, we have changed from the childhood to this age which we are now, right now. So there is a vyayam for our sharira. But what is, if you look at a tree or a river or even a mountain, over a period of time, everything has got changes which is happening in itself. So this is something which you cannot see here. The changeless one cannot be seen, because to see the changeless one, you have to be more changeless than the changeless which we call it as changeless. So that idea of avyayam is just not comprehensive. I mean, we cannot even ideally or intellectually comprehend what does it mean by. But in simple means is that it doesn't have any change. It doesn't change at all from the time or even before time. So time changing also is within it. So it is beyond the time also. Yat, that or which, Buddha yonim. Yoni is, the meaning is the source or the creation. From where the birth takes place. Bhuta yonim. Bhuta means creation. Everything that is created comes from that. That means the created objects are coming from that. Or from that the creations takes place. So that why does avyayam and the Bhuta yonim, how can it go through? If there is no change in it, how can the change of creation take place in it? This will be explained in the next mantra. So the word used to denote that confusion is the word used paripashyanti. Pashyanti means you are seeing it. The changeless one you cannot see, but when it is having changes like Bhuta yonim, then there is a chance that you can see that through the change, through the modifications or through the creations. To ward of that, the word paripashyanti is used. Paripashyanti means to behold. Now, for example, the word behold has got a very simple meaning. But if I tell you an example, like a person enjoys beauty. Now, beauty enjoyment is not or expression which can be defined by the process of understanding the beauty. That's why the famous saying, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. We cannot express that. At the same time, we cannot deny its presence. Whether it is a taste or a beauty or whether it is any of that nature of things which are inexpressible, but at the same time you cannot deny its presence. To indicate that is the word paripashyanti is used. And dhira, most famous or most loved word by all the Upanishad, dhira, dhimantaha, the wise, they behold it. That means it is something possible for all of us to behold this truth if we are prepared for it. We should be able to meditate upon each of these words, adrishyam agrahyam agotram avarnam achakshuchotram tadan apanipadam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susushmam avyayam bhutayonim. All those words, if you meditate upon and get into the deeper meaning of the esoterical meaning of those things, then you become the wise man who beholds the truth, what is being told in this mantra by the Upanishad. Such is the depth of this mantra. In fact, Swami Krishnananda of Divine Life Society says that the first khanda of this Upanishad itself should have been treated as a standalone Upanishad. So much is the depth of the mantras in each one of them that they are starting from, Tasminnu Bhagavo Vijñāte Sarvam Idam Vijñātam Bhavati till the end of the first kanda, which we will be seeing in the next two mantras also. So having defined or having given a glimpse of what is that, Paravidya. So Aparavidya was explained yesterday. Now in the Paravidya, he very said that Para Yaya Aksharam Adhigamyate. So that Yaya, by which one crosses or beyond or, becomes one with that Aksharam. What is that is given in this mantra as, this is the nature of it. If you know this nature of that reality, then you will also know what is that Paravidya. Naturally, when these things are told, any student will get into a doubt as to how can Bhutayoni be there mentioned and then how can it be, say, Abhyayam. To give more clarity towards that, the Upanishad itself uses 3 similes. Each one has got its own importance. Yatha yathornanavi srijate ghrannate cha yatha prithivyam aushadaya sambhavanti yatha sada purushotma keshalomani tadaksharam sambhavatiha vishwam yatha urnanavi srijate ghrannate cha. Urnanavi means a spider. Yatha, just as a spider webs and takes it back into itself, is the first example. The second example is Prithivyam, on the surface of the earth, Aushadaya Sambhavanti. There is vegetation which is happening. Tada Purushat Keshalomani. From the human being, we see the hair and the nails growing. Like that, Aksharat Sambhavati Iha Vishwam. From that Akshara, Yaya Aksharam Adhigamyate in the first answer, from that Akshara, Sambhavanti means happens this Vishwam, all this cosmos which we are experiencing. Now it looks very simple examples, but the meaning is different. A spider doesn't need an external material and external tools and implements to create its web. It is from its own body what it is taking for creating it. If you look at a potter, to create a pot, he needs mud which is different from him. He needs the tools and implements and the, other accessories for getting the final pot out of it. Same is the case with anything else, like whether it's a goldsmith or a carpenter or anybody who is creating something. Whereas in the case of a spider, it doesn't need anything outside. To show this, that Brahman, from that reality, this entire Vishwam, the entire cosmos, is coming without any cause. There is no material cause to create. It doesn't need anything outside. This is where it deviates from the Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya says Purusha and Prakriti. Prakriti creates, but only in the presence of Purusha. Whereas in this example, it's very clear that Urnanapi Srijate Ghranateja. It doesn't need any other, either instrumental cause or material cause for creating its own web. Then the question can come, does it have an intent, or because it wants to catch the prey? So there is a desire in it to create the web. To remove this one is the next example. Prithivyam Aushadaya Sambhavanti. From the surface of the earth, the vegetation comes, it doesn't have any intent to survive or to be alive. It is serving everyone, whether the animals or human beings or the fruits or plants or leaves or whatever it is. And when that decays, it goes back to the earth. So from where it comes, it remains for a purpose without any self-intent or a desire. It serves the universe, and when its time is over, it decays itself, goes back to the earth. So there is no intent also in Brahma for the purpose of something he has created the world. So then when the question comes, if that is the case, how can the Chaitanya of Brahman can create inert materials like the rock and the mud and the planets and the sun and the moon, which are not having life? To remove that, it says, Purushat Kesalomani, the nail and the hair which is coming from a skin of a human being. It is a human being which has got life, but the growing thing on his body, like the nail and the hair, do not have any life in it. A lifeless thing, apparently lifeless thing, but not material-wise different from them, because it is the same cells which is available in the organ. But the only thing is that they are dead cells. Is it that way the world, the earth and the stars and the moon and the sun and etc. is coming? There is a possibility that it can appear to be lifeless when it is creating the earth and the planets and etc. But material wise, it is not different from the same Big Bang where it has all those things are happening. The same matter is spread in the whole universe as different planets. The concentration can vary, but ultimately it is all having the same effect of the same material from which the source from where it has come. It can become lifeless things like planets. And in that you can have the vegetation where you look into the vegetation is appearing to be growing with life. But at the same time, if you look into the composition of the vegetation or the human beings or anything for that matter, all of them are nothing but what you can find in the surface of the earth. The same calcium, carbon, phosphorus, nitrogen, oxygen, everything is the same. So, Aksharat Sambhavanti Iha Vishwam. So from that Akshara, which doesn't decay, where even though when it has become many, it has not decayed or it has not changed itself, even though when it is there in the form of the universe which is seen outside as many in the different names and forms and appearances. So with this, he now goes to how did it happen when question comes. To answer that is the next mantra, 8th one. Tapasa chiyade brahma tato annam avijayate annat pranaha manha satyam lokaha karmasu chamritam. Tapasa chiyade brahma is a very important statement. With tapas, chiyade means becomes is a very literal meaning. Actually speaking, chiyade means usfurjanam. It is just like grows. Brahma tata annam abhijayate. Therefore, from Brahma, annam abhijayate. Annam comes out, or annam is born. Now, tapasa chiyate, Brahma is the cause. The Brahman itself is the cause for the annam to be created in the world. Annam here means any matter, anything which is material. Sukshmam. What is Sushmam? has become gross in this case. That is why it is called annam. Now, how did it do? Tapasa. Now, tapasa is the meaning which is given, has got different meanings in the depending upon how we want to give the reference to that. Normal tapas is one who meditates upon. Brahma doesn't have to meditate upon anything. But Brahma created, from Brahma came the abhijayate, created the annam. When did it happen? Tapasa chiyate. Like example, where different examples are given in the different Upanishads. Somewhere it says nishwasavat, like when somebody wants to do a sigh of relief or a sigh, when they do a sigh, you expand your chest. That expansion seen in Brahma is explained as a cause for appearances of the world. When that sigh or when that doesn't happen, it is in a state of static situation where no contrast can be seen, no movement can be seen. So the movement in Brahman or the pulsation in Brahman, which is the way in which Mundaka says that, is the pulsation in the Turiya is the cause for the creation. Whereas Taittiriya Upanishad says that Yatova imani bhutani jayante yeta jatani jivanti yat pravestya pisham vishanti tadeva brahmatam. That from which everything comes, in which everything remains, and into which everything goes. That is what is Brahma. Then Ishwarasya Nishwasavat is one place it says. And all these places, one more place where it said, So kamayata bahusyam prajayeti. He willed. So some commentators have used the word tapasa as willed to relate to that sutra of the Taittiriya Upanishad. He willed to become many. So here he willed, and therefore annam abhijayate, the matter was created from him. So in that, all that, when the will takes place, some effect takes place in the substratum of, and annam abhijayate. Annam is referred here as a matter. Swami Krishnananda or Divine Life Society, he gives a different explanation. Annam it is like the starch which is required for a canvas, without which no painter can give a painting to the cloth. The cloth itself doesn't have a stiffness. The stiffness comes when it is given starch. Same way, the first thing which comes out before creation of the paint of Brahman as Vishwan. So he is comparing Brahman as a painter who creates everything in the screen of canvas. For that, he first created the starch to give the stiffness to the cloth. That is how he is explaining that. Annat prana manaha. Then from that comes two aspects of prana and manaha. Satyam, lokaha, karmasu, cha amrutam. Now these words, prana, manaha, satyam, lokaha, karmaha, amrutam, 6 of them. Anna included 7. And if you consider the source Brahma, it is 8. So each one has a role to play for our experiences. Prana is called the Kriya Shakti, or the power for action. Manaha is the power for intellect, memory, all those aspects of it. Satyam is that aspect of existence, Sat. Lokaha, means it becomes object of perception or perceivable, the perceivability or the knowability of individualities is also an aspect which is coming out of this anna. Then karma, even if you have a karmendriya, the karma comes from what? When it is engaged with between the two of the creations, the resulting effect is called karma. And karma sucha amritam. From karma comes amritam, means immortality. How does karma result to immortality is something which we have to see that. What does it say? When your prana, kriya shakti is there in us, we perceive with the objects outside the existence of the object, and that is understood in the mind. So prana, loka, satyam, manaha, that is the order in which it is happening. And then once we know that object is existing, engagement in action is called karma. Now karma creates, therefore, when he created karma, he has not only just created karma. Karma here stands for the total ambit of causation and reaction, time and space. All are included in the word karma here. Because karma can be done only in a given time, at a given space, and for every action there is a reaction, and then it remains in the space and time where from the result comes as that. So all that is included in the one word karmasu. That is why it is used in the plural. But it doesn't stop that. Then it is once for all you have been doomed to, as you have done the sin and we are all doomed. No. It also created amrita. It also mentioned that what is from that amritam comes. Amritam means the immutability for the fruits of action. That is, when we are doing the actions itself becomes the cause and effect for the continuity of the experience. Therefore, the world continuously experience is remaining for us. Us means those who are born in the form of anna and the prana. So this continuity is the cycle which is called the birth and death for us. One who knows the source from where it has come, he is the one, yaya aksharam adhigamyade. The one who knows that, he is no more within the control of prana, mana, satyam, loka, karma, amritam. But if you do not know these facts, then you are in the aparavidya realm where you need to know what is Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda, and the auxiliary Vedas and all those things. That is where what you call the birth and death and the life cycle is maintained by from his own creation. Now again, the Angiras goes back to what it is to be like. Yaha sarvajnaha sarvavit asya jnanamayam tapaha tasmat etad brahma nama rupam annam cha jayate. What does it say? Yaha sarvavitnya. For whom, there are two words, sarvavitnyit and sarvajna, basically, like I told you, that earlier two words were used simultaneously, vibhu and sarvagatam. Here the sarvajna and sarvavit. These two words are synonyms. But the meanings are different here, even though they are synonym. Sarvajna means sarvam janati idi sarvajna. One who knows everything is a sarvajna. Sarvavit is one who is having everything. So when you have everything, you know everything. No? Whatever you have, you know about it. But here the meanings are different. So Sarvajna is because he knows, he is in the form of knowledge in everything. And Sarvavet, he is in the form of existence in everything. So Sarvajna is the awareness aspect or the knowledge aspect of itself, and Sarvavit is the existence aspect of. So existence and Sarvajna, that is why both the words are equally important when one who knows everything and one being everything are two different aspects of the same thing. When being becomes knowing, then the two words have the one meaning only. Then that time you cannot use the two words, you have to use the word Brahman only. Tasya jnanamayam tapaha. So jnanamayam, the mayat pratyaya, the last mayam, is a pratyaya called mayat. Now mayat is called prachuryarthe, means the entirety. When we say the gold is 99.9999% pure, means still there is a chance for 0.0001% not gold in that. Anything like that, we cannot say 100% it is that. But if at all we can imagine something without an iota, other than that there is nothing. Even a speck of dust is not in it other than itself. That state is called Mayat, Prachuryarthe. Prachurya means entirety. So whose identity is Jnanamayam is what you call the entirety of knowledge. Not because he has become Sarvajna or Sarvavit. The Sarvajna, Sarvavit with Jnanamayam becomes that it is the one which itself is as existence of everything, as or awareness of everything, and the whole thing is in it, Jnanamayam, and that is the tapa, and the tapa here means it is his austerity, or that is way in which he has been tapasa chiyade Brahma. Because of this aspect of him, he has the knowledge of everything, he has the existence of everything in himself, so he can exhibit himself as everything. He can exhibit as awareness of everything. That is his jnanamayam tapaha, that is his austerity. Tasma, therefore, etad Brahma, this Brahman, nama rupam annam cha jayate, he takes the forms and of name and forms and is creating everything out of itself. Yada urnanapi srajate granade, like the spider making web. Apparently the spider is separate, the web is separate for our visual thing. But where does the web material for the web come from? It has not come from anywhere outside. It has come from the same, its own body. He has created that the material for the web from itself. We have to now consider in our own experiences. When we are seeing dream, how does the dream come up? Do we create the road and the train or the car or the fruits and the tree and the sun and the fire and the water, etc., including our own death if it happens in the dream? Does all these things create something with a material or instrumental cause from outside? No. Jnanamayam tapaha. It is that it happens, entire thing happens in awareness or in knowledge. And we are knowledge swarupa even in the dream. That experience is what we should understand to analyze, that this is when that Brahman created everything from the world outside. You, me, everything which we see in the world outside cannot be separate from that which has created the entire world. Sarvam Khaluidam Brahma. So the whole experience of multitude is only apparent multitude. If you look into each detail of each of experiences in it, what it all can be reduced is into Jnanamayam Tapaha. We can reduce. But the appearances are Namam Rupam Annam Cha Jayate. Namam Rupam. Nama is name. We have given name for everything. Rupam means it has got a form. And it is Annam is in the form of a matter, material. So everything is a material with a name and form is born out of Brahman only. Tada Brahma Tajayade. Therefore, it is born out of Brahma. And this is how the first khanda of the first Mundaka is explaining all the aspects of creation and what is Brahman's real nature. One who can go through these verses, meditate upon that, such a person will Aksharam Adhigamyade. He crosses over the beyond decay, that pure, he will know his reality, what he is made out of. He is not made of the hands and limbs or the food he eats, but these are all things which have come and go, like the tree comes from the surface of earth, decays into the earth. Our body comes up from the matter which we eat, and it will go back into the earth what we eat it. But there is these aspects of which is called Jnanamayam, in which, like our dream comes for our experiences, all experiences of dream, waking and deep sleep comes for us from our own experiences of knowledge only. For us, if it is like that, for everyone it is like that. And the whole Brahman has created the world is also from such an individual from where all experiences are coming. My dream is for myself, my world is a shared reality with others, because others are not created by me, so you have a feeling that others are real, so therefore a shared reality. Looking from the point of view who as the creator of the all, where does it happen? It happens in his own dream, in his own Jnanamayam, in his awareness only all these multitude and experiences are happening. But when we separate out ourselves as individuals, limiting ourselves to our experiences, then we are not knowing from the point of view of our own true nature or the creator who has created this apparent multiplicity or diversity, which has no real standing other than its own, from where it has come. So, Tasmat Edad Brahma Namam Rupam Annam Cha Jayate. It forms into the forms of name, form and matter. It is the one and that's only one which is become many, apparently, not in reality. With that, I'll end the class today. Next Wednesday, we'll meet again with the second Mundaka. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Dhanyavada. Thank you all.